Right then everyone, today we're getting a bit catty because my mental health's not been amazing recently, as a lot of you know, and it's just meant that I've not read as many books as I normally do. So today we're going to do a tier ranking of the most controversial things within the book industry, like booktube, the publishing industry, just everything as a whole, everything that affects us as readers. I've never done one of these tier rankings before, so we'll just kind of blag it, fake it till we make it, as I've always done on this page. But let's just get straight into it. So starting with the first thing, ebook pricing. Allegedly, there's a bit of a controversy around ebook pricing at the minute, and I'm going to stick this straight at gross because after doing some research, I learned that apparently these bestseller lists that everyone tries to get on, every author wants to get on them, don't they? The ebook sales don't count towards them, so book publishers are pushing people to try and buy physical copies of books, and in doing so, they're pushing the price of ebooks up to put people off buying ebooks. And that angers me for a few reasons. Firstly, because of accessibility. Some people like me, I live in a 2-bedroom council house. I don't have loads of room in the house to buy loads of physical copies of books. So ebooks are really handy. Not only that, but things like disabilities and, there's a lot of people out there who are disabled and really struggle to hold books. You've got the ability on Kindles to change font size for people that have got bad eyesight and things like that. So it really, really frustrates me and it grosses me out. It really gives me the ick, proper gross, the thought that book publishers will intentionally bump up the price of ebooks to force people to buy physical copies so they can get bestseller books and then stick it on the book and then force everyone to cut a books and buy it because it's a bestseller. So that one's going straight to gross, disgusting behaviour. I'm not having that. Next up, we have got Amazon Kindle. You will own nothing. So again, this is new to me. I had no idea until recently watching a YouTube video that when you are buying a book on your Kindle, you are not buying the physical ownership of that book. You're basically paying for a license and giving yourself the ability to just read that book. But at any point, the publisher or Amazon can decide to take that away from you and just remove the accessibility to that book. News to me. I really didn't know that, but after doing some research, it appears that's true. I also think that is gross. And one of the reasons that I think a lot of people prefer buying physical books, because once you've got them, no one can take that away from you. Dirty, dirty behaviour. Disgusting. I'm going to have to refer to my phone on some of these, because some of these pictures mean nothing to me. Next up, library. Public access versus publisher profits. Again, during this video and the research for this video, I've learned a lot of new things. And what I didn't know was that libraries don't buy books the same way that me and you buy books. Libraries have to pay extra fees like licensing fees and things because obviously they're going to be loaning these books out to people, and where a publisher would normally make profit from one book versus one person, if they're selling a book to a library, that book can be read by potentially thousands of people, and obviously that's going to come out of the pockets of the publishing industry. This one's a bit divisive for me because I'm a massive advocate for library use. I use my own library and I'm a big advocate for making reading accessible for everybody, for people out there that can't afford to go out and buy books. But I also understand that authors have got to make a living, publishing houses are a business at the end of the day. So I think it's kind of like there's good and bad on both sides. I think libraries obviously are going to have to pay more for books, but we also want to keep them in business. Why? I think it's really, really important that you go out and donate to your library. If you've got any books that are in good condition and your library accept them, then take them to your library, and hopefully that will prevent them from having to pay these over-the-top fees, and will keep them going for longer and make it more accessible for other people to go to your library. So I'm going to stick that in grey area because publishing houses are businesses and authors have got to make a living, haven't they? Every author that writes a book one day hopes that it'll become their full-time gig. So yeah, I think that's a grey area. I wouldn't say there's much controversy behind that one, really. Next one, unlimited audio subscriptions with thresholds. I've seen this a lot recently, especially with Everard, which is an app that I used to use. I think it's called something different in other countries. But the catalogue there used to be, you pay a monthly subscription, which was, say, $12.99, and you would literally get their entire catalogue. It's now been hidden behind a bit of a paywall. So you pay your $12.99, let's say, and you will get 3 choices of books. And then after you've listened to them books, you can choose their free catalogue, similar to what Audible do with their Audible Plus catalogue. You get a selection of free books, and then you've got to use credits and pay more and more money to get other books. Now, again, bit of a grey area, because audiobooks are a fantastic way to make reading accessible for people that maybe struggle to read, people that are visually impaired, people that just haven't got the time to sit down and read a physical book. But I also think it is quite affordable if you consider the fact that reading a physical book, if you go out to a bookshop and buy a book, it's going to be about a tenner. To get an audiobook, 9 times out of 10, even if you're paying full price for it, it's about $7.99. And audiobook and physical book, you're consuming the same story. So I'm fine with that, if I'm honest with you. I don't mind that some audio book companies are starting to hide more content behind paywalls. Again, they're just trying to make bank, aren't they? And it's frustrating because for us, we ain't got the millions of pounds that these have got. But they're also a business just putting out a media format. And, we've got a choice. We don't have to do that. You can go to your library. The Libby app is a fantastic way to get audiobooks for free. But I'm going to stick that in fine. I've got no issues with that at all. Do what you want, Audible. If I don't want to use you, then I just won't. What we got next? Return policies on audiobooks. So I think this one is more from a consumer perspective rather than the actual businesses. So I recently found out that you can actually return audiobooks on Audible. You can go into there and basically say, I'm not happy with this product. You can click return and they'll give you your credit back. I also found out that a lot of people are abusing this system, basically listening to audiobooks, clicking return and then swapping it for another credit. I initially had no issue with that, because I've not done research into how that actually affects anyone. But it turns out that this was largely affecting authors. So when you go onto Audible and you click return, not because you didn't like the product or the production, but just because you'd finished it and knew that you could return the product and get another free credit, that actually took away from the author. So the money that the author got, which is already pittance compared to obviously what Audible and Amazon and people take from these audiobooks, the author lost that small percentage of profit that they would get from that book. I believe that they have or are in the process of changing that, so that as long as the book's been kept for 7 days, the author will keep their cut of whatever them profits are. But I think as consumers, it's important that we're just sensible with this. If we buy a product, then if we truly, truly dislike the product, or we don't think the quality of the production is good, or the voice acting, or just the book itself is sheer terrible, and you know that within like 1 or 2 chapters, crack on, use that return feature. But I think if we are literally using it as a means to listen to a full audiobook, enjoy that and return it to get another free audiobook, I think that's pretty shady. So we're going to stick that in the shady section. Next up, I think it's hiding content behind paywalls. And this again is from a... can't even get my words out. I'm full of cold, so you're just going to have to bear with me today. It's hiding content behind paywalls, and that's from a content creator perspective. So this is basically aimed at Patreon, because I see Patreons everywhere now. Literally everyone's got a Patreon. I ain't got a Patreon. Maybe I'm missing out on a gig here. The reason I don't have a Patreon, and this is why I put this in here, is I have no issues with people trying to make a bit of bank and trying to make a living from doing content creation. I'm all for it. Hopefully one day I might start to make millions from doing content creation, but it's not the sole aim. My aim really is to get free books from publishers and come on here and talk about mental health and use my platform as therapy, and hopefully to help a few people along the way to get through mental health struggles. But coming to Patreon. So Patreon, if you don't know what it is a separate site that you can set up where you can upload content onto Patreon. Oh, Ruben's decided to come into the gig. Give me one moment, please, while I find out what my son wants. Hello, son, what would you like? Can I wipe his bum? He needs a poo. Wow. If you're new to this page, Ruben often, when I'm doing a video, will come in and tell me that he needs me to wipe his bottom. And I'm a father first, so I'm going to have to go and wipe my son's bum and then come back and we'll do this. The beauty and joys of YouTube videos. I'm back and I washed my hands. These are things that I never thought about when I started a YouTube video, that I was going to have to deal with stuff like that. And it's why I don't edit my videos, because if I spent time editing videos, I'd never upload them because I'd have to cut all that stuff out. Patreon account. So, grey area for me. I'm all for people trying to make a bit of money, but I also think we should be supporting the people that have helped build our following. I personally don't have a Patreon because I don't want people to have to pay to see my content. That's the only reason I don't have a Patreon. Plus, I just don't think I have the time and effort to make specific content for Patreon. I feel like if you are going to set up a Patreon account, then really you need to be offering an additional service and maybe behind the scenes stuff that everyone else doesn't see. I just think that there are so many ways for content creators to make money, like with affiliated links, sponsorships, partnerships, where content creators really should be able to monetize from the platforms that they use and the companies that they work with, rather than trying to make the money from the following who've been loyal to them and help them build the platform that they've got. So I don't think it's shady. It's more of a moral thing. Morally, I just, that's not me. But I don't think the people that do it are bad people. They're just trying to make their life a bit more comfortable. So I'm going to say it's a grey area, because some people are going to be for it, some are against it. I've had people message me before and say, how can I support you? And I'm like, I don't know. I really don't know. I've not thought about it. So we're going to go grey area. YouTube sponsorships up next. And these are, again, a little bit grey for me. I don't really know where to put these, because I've seen some really good sponsorships out there. And I get bombarded with messages from companies saying, like, will you promote this product on your page? Will you promote that product on your page? An example is, yesterday I got a message from a company saying, we've messaged you before and you ignored us. We're messaging you again. We'd love you to promote our healthcare products, skincare and stuff like that. I'm just like, have you seen this face? No skincare involved here. Like, that makes no sense to me. So when it comes to sponsorships, I'm all for people using their platform and putting sponsorships on there, as long as they're going to use these products. So if they use the products and they genuinely see quality in them, I have no issues with it. It's when I see just the most bizarre sponsorships on book-related pages that just are completely unrelated to books. I don't understand it. I think personally it's a little bit immoral, and it's only because there are people out there that will watch videos and they will literally take what the creator says as gospel, and they'll just go out and they'll buy these things. I have messages often where people say to me, Tyrone, I bought this book just because you said it was good. It's not my typical genre, but I bought it because you said that. So I think that content creators have a responsibility for the following that watch their videos to ensure that they truly believe in the sponsorships that they're putting on the pages. I think the last sponsorship I actually took was last year, and it was with a company called Labelessa, I think they were called. They sold sex toys, and basically they approached me and said, look, we'd love to collab with you. You've got a lot of female followers, and we'll send you some toys. So I was like, well, that's a win-win. I can let all the ladies know that there's a company that they can go to get their happy ending if they want to go there, but also I get 3 free toys that I can pass to my wife. I was like, tick, tick. Happy wife, happy following. So that was the last one I've done. I've not done sponsorships for probably about a year, because everyone that approached me, I'm just like, I'm just not interested in making money. I'm not interested in any of the products you're doing. The only things I've took recently have been like just free books. If companies approach me and say, can we give you a free book? I'm like, yeah, give it me. But if anyone asks for paid reviews, no thank you. It just puts too much pressure on me. It makes me feel like I have to do it like within a time period, and I'm too much of a mood reader for that. So YouTube sponsorships, again, is going grey area, because I think it depends on how the creator deals with that sponsorship. Indie author support. I can't remember what I actually categorised this as, but I put it down as exploiting indie authors. I have to write a list because I forget everything. So this is, I mean, it's gross. It's going into gross because it's gross. It's gross. It's horrible. There is a large amount of people within the book community, and this is things that maybe you as watchers of this channel won't see, but I speak to a lot of independent authors. When I released my own book, I had a lot of people, a lot of leechers that came into my inbox, and they try and do a lot of things. So you will get people who go and approach indie authors basically and say, look, I can use my platform and my following to help you get sales on your book, but you've got to pay me an amount of money. You also get other people who know how the algorithm works, who know how to edit videos and make videos, who will go to indie authors, especially people that know how to physically publish books, because publishing a book for some authors is just a world of unknown. A lot of people are fine with writing books, but once that book's written and they've got that final manuscript, they're like, right, now how do I get that book in front of people's eyes? And you will get leechers who will approach indie authors and say, look, I'll do this for you. And they just charge over the odds. especially when you consider that I published my own book myself. I did it all through like ebook, and I put it on Kindle Unlimited, and to physically upload the book maybe took half an hour. It's not a difficult process at all. You've just got to go on YouTube and find out yourself. But a lot of authors think it's really complicated. So they get taken advantage of by so many leeches in the industry. And for me, if you're taking advantage of someone that's already struggling just to figure out how to do things, I just think you're a shitty person. So that's going to go into gross for me. What we got up next, we have got limited edition book prices. This is one of the things that angers me the most. This makes me feel like, it makes me bumhole like do this. Honestly, it makes me so angry. For one, the amount of money that actual publishing houses and limited edition companies charge for books, that frustrates me. I'm not going to say things like broken binding and things like that. When it's like £23 a book, I'm fine with that because I think they're worth it with some of these sprayed edges. They've got production costs, printing costs, staff costs, distribution. I'm fine with that. But it's when you go onto other websites where they will charge, the companies alone will charge £100 plus for a limited edition book. But then it's the resale costs. And they're just pure greed of some of these wannabe Warren Buffett entrepreneurs. You know, people that sign up for these subscription boxes, and the second that the book comes through their post, they chuck it straight on Vinted for £500. That, for me, is disgusting behaviour. And again, I understand people want to make their lives better, but it's just sheer greed. If you want to do that, by all means, if you've paid £23 for this subscription and it comes to you, chuck it online for 35 quid. By all means, make a bit of money. Make a tenner. And if you keep doing that, you can make 100 quid eventually. But it just sickens me when people take advantage of other people who maybe missed out on a slot and who are desperate to own these books, and then charge them hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds. I just think they're absolutely dirty mingers, and they're going to go in gross as well, because that's just gross behaviour, gross human behaviour. Next up, what we got? Regional pricing inequalities. I had no idea this even existed until this morning when I was planning for this video again. So it turns out that different countries get charged different prices for books, which seems fairly obvious to me because there's going to be things like licensing issues, distribution costs. But what I did notice after looking is that a lot of the countries that seem to pay more for books are countries that seem to be struggling countries anyway. Countries where poverty is just more common than in places like the United Kingdom and America, Australia. I know Australia for some reason pay quite a bit for books, Canada as well. But a lot of countries like Uganda, places like Taiwan, Vietnam, pay completely, just absolutely crazy prices for books. And for me, I think that's quite shady. I'll never understand the reason behind it, and I'm sure someone can speak to me and be like, oh, this is why. But I think if poverty is already high in a country, for me, we should be trying to get books in front of them people, especially if the education system's not fantastic. You know, reading is such a good way to be able to educate yourself. And if you've got people who are maybe not getting the education that they deserve, just put books in front of them, make them affordable. I don't know how we could do it. I don't know if countries should be able to come together. And I'm sure there's probably charities out there that do it. But for me, I just think it's shady that books are disproportionately more expensive in some countries more than others. And I know supply and demand, blah, 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 but it can't always be about corporate greed. Sometimes you've got to think about books as a whole and the fact that books should be accessible really for everybody on earth. No arguments. I'm not having any arguments to that one. Next up, we've got AI generated books. Disgusting. The most minging of minging. Just vile. Vile. The reason I say it's vile is because AI is just getting so clever now. And the things that you can do with AI is absolutely wild. Somebody now would be able to go online, find the EPUB file for, I don't know, let's say this book here, Ascendant by Michael R. Miller. Someone would be able to go online and find the EPUB file for this book, download it into an AI-generated bot, and say to this bot, I want you to write me the first chapter of a book using the premise of this book written in the style of Joe Abercrombie, and it would do it. It would do it. It would literally pull sources of information from everywhere It'd make that book happen, and that can be published online for your viewing eyes. And unless you actually do your research, you're never going to be none the wiser. It's allowed to happen, as long as you declare that it's AI generated content. And I can guarantee 50% of people that are doing this aren't declaring that. And I'm almost certain that the checks probably aren't getting done to figure out. I don't even know how they would figure out if that's being done. But the fact that that is possible, and the fact that it's flooding the marketplace with AI generated books, is going to make it even harder for independent authors to get eyes on their book in an industry that is already so incredibly difficult to break. AI generated books, something's got to happen with that because they're just disgusting, absolutely minging. Online harassment, number 12. Online harassment and witch hunts. This just makes me feel like all icky and weird inside. I don't understand it. Sometimes when I go online, I understand that we're all nosy bitches. Like, we all love to hear the gossip and the rumours and the drama and stuff like that. But I don't like seeing online witch hunts when you see a bit of drama and then everyone jumps on that bandwagon and makes really, really popular videos because they know that it's going to trend. And it's just a snowball. When you look at all the comments, these videos, one video might see 30,000 people, but then other content creators see that this is happening and they'll jump on the bandwagon, whether it's attacking an author or whether it's attacking another content creator or a public figure. And I'm of the mindset, like, if I've got nothing nice to say, I just won't say it. So I don't understand why people would want to build a platform around witch hunts and around just negativity towards another human being, especially when I'm on here trying to advocate for mental health positivity. And I don't think people consider how negatively it can affect other people's mental health when they're seeing all these people saying all these horrible things online. For me, I think it'll always be gross. I just think it's just a poor representation of how we should treat people and treat humans, whatever they've done. If someone does something truly horrific and they're disgusting, say your piece. But I just say it to myself or to my wife. I'll just say, "Oh, babe, have you heard this? It's disgusting. It's vile." I won't come online and spread it to thousands and thousands of people, because however horrific the actions are of some people online, I don't want to be the reason that that person does something stupid to themselves. So I think there's always consequences to our actions, and I think a lot of people forget that our actions online have real life consequences as well. That's a bit gross for me. Bit gross. Gatekeeping and lack of emerging authors. So this one, so when I say this one, what I'm trying to cover here is the fact that we always seem to see same books online. It's just the same, especially in the fantasy genre where I read a lot of my books. It's the same kind of 10 series that are on rinse and repeat. And I'm guilty of reading some of these books, but I think that I'm a content consumer first before I'm a content creator. I am just one of you. I go online, I watch my favourite content creators, but over the last year or 2 years, I have seen a pattern of the same books repeated over and over again. And I'm easily influenced, so I will buy them books. I'll put them on my shelf. But then that will lead me to come online and say, these are the books that I've read. And it's just a vicious circle. So I am trying to make a conscious effort to not be as easily influenced and just to read blurbs and stuff. But I think because the world is changing at the minute and we do seem to be leaning more heavily on online purchases and going into our bookstores less, we're missing out on so many hidden gems. I find personally that the best book recommendations that I get are always from booksellers in Waterstones or independent bookshops, because they're not typically reading the popular books that we see online. So again, I'd say it is a grey area because content creators are obviously going to go online and talk about what's popular. I know that this sun's right in my eyes. Shall I try and do something with this sun for you? Do you reckon? Give us a minute. Let me see if I can just... That's better, isn't it? They talk about natural lighting, but that was just too much. So yeah, I understand that content creators are going to want to talk about what's popular because they want the page to grow as quick as possible, yada, yada, yada. They want to become the next Mr. Beast and they want to retire the family and move to the Belize. But there's always the other side where you could kind of just get lost in the sea of content creators when everyone's talking about the same stuff all the time. I just I think it's a grey area because I don't think it's necessarily the fault of the content creators. Again, content creators watch other content creators and can be influenced as well. I don't think anyone is intentionally going out there and thinking, I'm just going to talk about these popular books all the time because I want to get rich and famous. It's because they are reading these because they are also influenced by other creators. Bulk purchases to boost bestseller lists. This blew my mind. Truly blew my mind. So I spoke earlier about, this is my little bookseller thing here because that's best I could find, just loads of books. This, I didn't even know this existed. So every author and every publisher wants the books to get onto the bestseller wish list, whether it be the Times, the New York Times, the Mail, wherever. You know, you've seen all these big bestseller lists. Whenever someone gets on the list, they stick it on the front of the book with them stupid stickers that aren't stickers that you can't take off that you wish you could. That's everyone's aim. That's the epitome of authorship. I don't even know if that's a word. Book publishers will bulk buy their own books to boost sales to get them on the list. How deceiving is that? That is mental that they're allowed to do that. And I even Googled it because I was like, that can't be true. That's got to be a lie. No, it's true. They can do it. And then it tricks us into believing that these books are fantastic because the bestsellers, they must be fantastic. The bestsellers, yeah. They're also, these publishing houses are also best buyers because they buy loads. Trickery. That's gross. That is like the epitome of gross, deceiving, dirty corporate greed at its best. So yeah, that's winning gross. There's a lot in gross. We haven't got any in meh. See if any of these last few are in meh. What's the second to last one? Celebrity book deals. I think that could be a meh. So there's been a rise in the last couple of years of content creators and influencers getting book deals because they've built a platform and they've got eyes on that platform. So book publishers automatically think, well, if you write a book, it'll sell because you've got a loyal following. So write a book if you want. And there've been content creators recently, I'm not going to name any names, who didn't have any manuscripts, who'd not even sat down and put pen to paper, who were offered book deals and basically told, when you write a book, we will publish X amount of books for you and we'll put eyes on your book. Good luck. And for me, I'm going to put that in meh. I think, and I'm not putting it in meh because it doesn't frustrate me. Of course it does. I'm a massive advocate for independent authors and I wish indie authors had just be given a more of a chance. And it is deals like this that stop them from getting the chance that they probably deserve, because publishing houses will have set budgets for advertising and things like that, and they're likely to push them budgets towards creators and celebrities and public figures who they think will get eyes on their book, which takes away from the independent authors. The reason I'm going to put it in meh is because I completely understand why it happens. I understand that publishing houses are a business and they don't necessarily care about who they give the publishing deals to. They just want to give it to the person that's most likely to sell most books. And, you know, if you've got a person who's got a lot of eyes on their profile, then yeah, they are likely to sell more books than some unknown indie author. But it does break my heart because there's so many indie authors out there whose books we'll probably never read, who are likely fantastic at what they do and have crafted their art brilliantly well. And there's going to be some hot trash books put in bookshops because the author who wrote them was famous and likely didn't even really write the book. They probably just sat down, gave some ideas, and a really good editor wrote the book for them. So that is a shame, but I also understand corporate greed, isn't it? It's corporate greed. What's the last two? The last two, paid book reviews. I don't know how I feel about this. I know that I'm leaning more towards shady. I'm going to put it in shady. Paid book reviews. People like me will be approached by authors The reason I picked Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is because Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is actually, it's not winning fine. It's just dragged into there. I'll change it in a minute. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is one of these books that have been cleaned up. And by a cleaned up book or remastered book and things like that, what it is a book that was once released in its original form that has been altered in 2025 because the world's gone soft and we don't like reading certain things. So Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, it appeared, was altered because of the descriptive words in the book. Let me see if I can find out what the words were. Altered. So the words were, not even that offensive in my opinion. So it says that the words were replaced. The changes made by Roald Dahl Story Company and publisher Puffin include replacing fat with enormous to describe Augustus Gloop, making the Oompa Loompas gender neutral instead of referring to them as small men. I'm just like, come on. We just appear to be offended. By we, I mean humans. We just appear to be offended by so much. I think we enjoy being offended. And book publishers are just bowing to the pressure. And I don't think they should. So I'm quarter Jamaican, for anyone that's new to this page and doesn't know. My granddad is Jamaican. He came over as part of the Windrush generation. And, if someone was to say to me, we're going to change Roots, written by, what was his name? Alex Haley. If someone was to say to me, we're going to change... Actually, I think of Mice and Men got remastered and they took the N-word out of it because it was used too many times. I'm just like, why? That's the original source material. It's a product of its time. It's a representation of how society viewed people, and it's also a representation of how much we've moved on as a people, as a humanity, as society. And I think it's something that should be celebrated. I don't think we should be changing that and pretend that something like that didn't happen in the past. I don't think we should pretend that the world hasn't gone soft. The fact that they've took the word fat out of a book. I'm fat. I've got some fat on me. I've got man boobs. If someone says to me, Tyrone, you're getting a bit fat, I'm not going to be like, excuse me, it's not fat. It is winter warm. I'm just like, come on, dude, I'm a bit fat and I could do with losing some weight. My arteries are at risk of getting clogged. For me, that's just shady. I don't think we should be changing original source material, even if it's slightly offensive. I'm not having that. I want to read the original source material, even if it offends me. I think as humans, we should absolutely be offended. That's part of life. People are going to say stuff that offends you. And you know what? You just take it on shoulder. If you want to offend them back, do it. But let's move on and be like, yeah, I've been offended, and what? So, that's it. That's me little list of things that are controversial, I suppose. I hope you enjoyed it. I've never done it like this before. If you did enjoy it, then tell me and I'll do something like this again in future. I'm going to go now and take some Lemsip and stuff because I'm full of head cold and stuff like that. If you've watched to this point, as always, I love you the most. I will see you in the next one. Mwah!